Hey folks, Jerry Stevenson, Chief Redneck in Charge, the Redneck BBQ Lab, Gee's Crossroad in Benson, North Carolina. Today I'm here at the RBL Studios to show you guys and ladies how to make traditional North Carolina coleslaw. First thing I would like for you to do is to go down and like this video for us, share it with your friends, subscribe to all our media channels, click on that bell on YouTube so you are notified about future videos when they come out. And please leave your suggestions and your comments as usual. Tell us what you liked about this video. Give us suggestions for videos you'd like to see in the future. We pay attention to them, try to take care of you guys best we can. But today, I'd like to show you guys how to make a traditional Eastern North Carolina coleslaw. And I shouldn't say Eastern North Carolina because this is the thing. It should just be North Carolina coleslaw, but however, we've got some folks in our state that believe that coleslaw has ketchup in it. Matter of fact, on my very brief, and I do mean brief, appearance on the Chopped Network, or our Food Network's Chopped series, one of the judges on there pretty much said that North Carolina is ketchup-based coleslaw, which I just kind of looked at her and said, what world are you from? Ketchup's not something I like in my coleslaw. Ketchup, however, is something you may find in a North Carolina barbecue sauce, and I'm agreeable with that. But my coleslaw, no way. There is one thing that we all agree on when it comes to coleslaw, and coleslaw is green cabbage in North Carolina. It's not purple, it's not radicchio, it's not anything like that. It is green cabbage. We are blessed with cabbage all over North Carolina due to all of our farmers and agricultural folk. This cabbage here comes from our mountains. It is a sweet cabbage. It is a very heavy cabbage, full of water. When you pick one up in the grocery store, you just feel like, wow, I got a bowling ball. That is the cabbage you want. Not so much looking at the core to see if it's brown or not. It doesn't really tell you the age. It's a moisture thing, and it's a smell thing. It should not smell like sauerkraut. That is a sign of a good cabbage. We're blessed, like I said, to be able to find plenty of them here in North Carolina as well. The next thing that's very important in coleslaw here in North Carolina, and I think really defines what coleslaw is here in North Carolina, is a recipe that calls for Duke's mayonnaise. Duke's mayonnaise, you're not familiar with it. A lot of folks in North Carolina are. It's not a real sweet mayonnaise. It's an egg-based mayonnaise like most, but it has a vinegar, an acidic component to it that gives it kind of this buttermilk type back flavor that's very unique. Something that's very good on a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, something on tuna fish, pretty much any kind of sandwich that you're making, but it's also very good in the coleslaw. So this is my rendition of a traditional North Carolina coleslaw, the one that I like to put on my pork sandwiches, and one that was kind of taught to me by my mother with a few tweaks here that I've done. So first thing I want to do is I want to quarter this cabbage up. Take my sharp knife, believe it or not, it's sharp. Getting through this cabbage sometimes is kind of a chore. And then I'm going to lay it on its side. Notice I didn't cut off the heel of that cabbage, and that's for a very, 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 very important reason that I'll show a little later on. Once I've got that cabbage quartered, I need a bowl and I need a box grater. This used to be the bastion along with shelling peas and shelling pecans for me growing up. Didn't mind peeling shrimp as bad, wasn't as bad as that. But this thing has been many a nightmare of many a lost knuckles, skin on my knuckles before due to my hand slipping off or something like that. So that's one of the reasons why I like to leave that core on the cabbage as something to kind of hold on to and give me a grip. So we're gonna go ahead, and I use the fine setting. That's another thing that kind of defines cabbage here in North Carolina is we like our coleslaw very, very fine. It's hard to get in a regular like shredder, a cheese grater, the cheese grater side of this. You can do this in a food processor. However, getting uniformity is really, really tough. This is one of those things, like I said, growing up, it was like, oh boy, when we had fish, it was cabbage. You know, you had to get the cabbage done for coleslaw. And we'd have to sit there and do that. And like I said, eventually you would run that hand off in this thing, which I hope to not do this today in the video. But something, like I said, that had to be done. If you wanted fish on Fridays, you had to have coleslaw. If you wanted a barbecue sandwich, you had to have coleslaw as well. When I get to the part here where we start getting into the core, I kind of stop. The core is where a lot of the bitterness is found in cabbage. The sweeter part of the cabbage is more on the outside, the leaf part. And it'll build up some strength in your arm. At the lab, we actually use a snow cone grater to do this. People look at me like I'm crazy, but when you're running through 200 to 400 pounds of coleslaw at a time, it's not like what you want to do by hand like we did at home. But it is, like I said, one of those patience things. Just have to keep going at it for a while. All right. Slowly but surely getting somewhere. Now there's a couple things in North Carolina that we are very, very adamant about. Basketball, barbecue. Barbecue in North Carolina is hog, specifically is whole hog. But the traditional ways are kind of being replaced by some different ways, like what we do. We cook butts and shoulders in the lab, the Redneck BBQ Lab. And the reason for that is it's an economic thing. It's easier, takes up less space, it's cheaper. And I mean, that's what it comes down to sometimes. You have to sacrifice sometimes. But we try to keep to the kind of the traditional ways that we grew up on as best as possible. Now you see what I'm talking about the struggle was real when it was Friday night and it was like, fish time. You want to be cooking the fish or making hush puppies or frying French fries. You didn't want to have to make the slaw. I think we've got enough right there to show you folks like what I do in terms of making my slaw. So, a good forearm workout. So, got about 4 cups of slaw in there right now. One of the things that I do in North Carolina, there's always a sweet part to the slaw, and this is kind of where my slaw differs a little bit. Is a lot of people use table sugar, just regular old white sugar in it. I find I like the zest of a carrot, just kind of like how we do the coleslaw or the cabbage. I like doing the same with a carrot. Just kind of puts a little background sweetness into it. It's natural. Hey, it's not sugar. We got enough of that in our sweet tea here in North Carolina. Just like with the cabbage, take your time. Because it's something that can get you as well. All right. I think that's probably about enough in there right now to kind of show you guys like what I'm going to do with this recipe. Now, this is kind of where I stop with the vegetable component in coleslaw when we make it like at the lab. But at home, my mother would throw pickles in. And it's one of the things I recommend you guys try as well. My mother's bread and butter pickles were these crunchy, sweet, vinegary things. It added just a lot of crunch and flavor in the background of this slaw. But I found that it's not something great on a pulled pork sandwich. So if you guys are making fish, I may put a little diced pickle in here. But since we're not, I'm planning on putting this on a pork sandwich. We're just going to leave it the way it is. Next thing I want to do is I want to add in a little bit of acid to this sweet mix on this cabbage. And this is about a tablespoon of our Redneck BBQ Lab North Carolina pork sauce, as well as having some vinegar in it. It also has a little bit of pepper and a few other spices. So I like to have just a little punch, a little snap to this. So I like to add that in. I like to add in a little bit of celery seed to this. Celery, whoa, that's not North Carolina. Well, in a way, it is. It's one of the things that my mother, I found, added to a lot of her stuff that I liked. And I've just kind of ran with it the same way. Additionally, add a little bit of salt. The salt component in this is actually celery salt. And I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon of that to it. That's something that I can adjust later once I try it. Finally, the last thing that I like to add to this is white pepper. Why white pepper? Well, it's a good question. White pepper, I found, is a little bit less harsh to you when you eat than black pepper. And something about that subtleness of that white pepper in the background of the cabbage is something I really like. Don't really see a lot of recipes with it in it, but I like to do it as well. Last component of this North Carolina coleslaw is Duke's mayonnaise. We were raised on it. It's something that I can't do without when it comes time for Thanksgiving turkey. One of the favorite things about Thanksgiving to me is that day after turkey sandwich with some Duke's mayonnaise on some of my mother's homemade potato bread. And this is some stuff that I really, really like. So we're probably going to put probably a half a teaspoon in this to start out with. Like I said, you can always add more, but taking mayonnaise, stuff like that out later on is a little bit tough. So mixing this up, you really start smelling that cabbage. It's got this like floral scent to it. And then in the background, you can kind of start smelling a little bit of that vinegar that we had in there. Can't really smell the pepper. I bet you I can taste that pepper though. You definitely can't see that pepper. I'm one of these people that I love Duke's mayonnaise, but I don't like a lot of mayonnaise in my slaw. And this may be where we part paths, and that's okay. You know, there's not one way in North Carolina to cook a pig. There's not one way to make coleslaw, nor is there one way to make barbecue sauce. There's something, maybe a future video you guys may be seeing here too. But that's pretty much it. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now. It looks kind of dry, but let me tell you something about slaw. One of the things about slaw is when you grate slaw, that slaw is made up of probably 75–80% of it is water. This slaw, once the salt that's in that celery salt and some of the salt that's in that vinegar salt, it's going to start pulling some of this out. It's going to make it a lot more wet later on as it sits. Because one of the things I do like to do with my slaw, I like to put it in the refrigerator probably for about an hour to just kind of let it come together. Just like a good red gravy, if you're making Italian pasta, you want this to come together probably about an hour. And you can already start to see some of the weeping. If you look down, you can see some of the weeping, and that's basically the salad dressing. It's what we're making with this. So keep it a little bit dry. Remember what I always said about with the mayonnaise and everything, you can always add to this later on. And always add salt, celery salt, pepper to your taste. So anyway, put this together, pop it into a refrigerator, let it sit for about an hour, taste it, make whatever kind of additions you need to it, and then get ready to serve it. So we'll pop this in the refrigerator and we're going to go check on it in about an hour to see what we did. All right, folks, about an hour in the refrigerator, pulled our coleslaw out, took a little taste of it, decided it needed a little bit more salt, so I added a little bit more salt to it. You guys may find out it's perfect and you don't need it, but I think we just need a little bit more salt for us. I mixed it back up, and we'll go ahead and dig right into this and see if my adjustment was good or if it needs a little bit more. I think it's about right. I may add just a little bit more mayonnaise to that, but like I said, it's something I'd rather add to than take away, because it's hard to take something out once you put it back in, especially like coleslaw. So I'm very happy with that. That will sit in the refrigerator even longer. It'll even get any better. It'll keep up to about a day or two. After that, I wouldn't recommend eating it, because after that, it may be really watery, really mushy. And too, one of the things about the coleslaw that I like is that crunch, you get when you're biting into something, the little bits and pieces and stuff. And that to me that's North Carolina coleslaw. So anyway, if you guys like that Western North Carolina coleslaw with ketchup in it, God bless you. Y'all have all you want, but I like this Eastern North Carolina style coleslaw that we do. It's the one that I was born and raised on. It's really simple. It's very few ingredients. It's something that you guys can take. You can build on. You can subtract. You don't like celery, take it out. Put something else in it. It's as long as you just don't put ketchup in it, we'll be fine. So once again, I'm Jerry Stevenson, Chief Redneck in charge of the Redneck BBQ Lab, McGee's Crossroad in Benson, North Carolina, here in the RBL studios with my friend Mike Baker from Event Webcasting, doing a little continuation of our traditional North Carolina series, showing you guys how to make a traditional Eastern North Carolina type coleslaw that you can make at home. So once again, folks, please, 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 if you found this video, that you love this video, like it down here, comment on this video, let us know your suggestions as to what we can do in the future for you. Subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends. If you need to find some of our sauces and rubs, they can be found right here at theredneckbarbeculab.com. Find our sauce. And I encourage you folks to just do this at home. Well, until next time, please be kind to one another, smile, let's pass this positivity around, let's start this revolution, make this place a better place, not only for us, but for our future generations. Love you guys. We'll see you guys later down the road.